One call to order the June 4th, 2025 O'Fallon City Council special meeting to order. Roll call, Bess.
Mayor Hennessy.
Present.
Councilmember Wexler.
Present.
Councilmember Roth.
Present.
Councilmember Boyer.
Present.
Councilmember Thompson.
She's excused.
Councilmember Bibb.
Present.
Councilmember Cascella.
Excused.
Councilmember Kewen.
Present.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember Cook.
Mark her in attendance when she arrives.
Councilmember Ragsdale.
Present.
All right, folks, you have agenda in front of you. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve Ragsdale.
Second, Wexler.
Motion by Councilwoman Ragsdale, second by Councilman Wexler. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. New business, Technology Drive and Walden Spring Road. Chris.
Let me get this started here. All right. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for having me here tonight to discuss the topic of Technology Drive and Walden Springs intersection. Just want to go through a couple of slides here with you. As you guys know, that in...
Hey, Chris, move the microphone up. Never mind.
Is that better?
That's better.
All right. So I'm Chris Clerks, Capital Improvements Manager for the Engineering Department, and I do appreciate you having me here. So on 5/22, a resolution was passed by the council to allow city staff to move forward based upon a warranted study for a traffic signal that we had completed per requested, that we were allowed to spend up to about $100,000 to get that effort taken care of through our project to reconstruct Walden Springs Phase 1. So just kind of going through the high level pieces of that, the cost is anticipated to be $81,000 roughly. At this time, that's our best estimate. You can see the breakdown in the bullet points below of where we came up with that $81,000. I just want to point out that that $81,000 is not a whole true number. It could vary because we have to get the design done. The design could have comments or certain things that get tweaked to it to where it could increase or decrease our costs. We don't know that for sure. We anticipate it's going to be around $100,000. We have to get the design going, which is right now planned to take at least a 4-week timeline just to get the preliminary design done. That's from a notice to proceed. And then once we get that preliminary design submitted or design done, we have to submit that to MoDOT. Their traffic engineers will review it. That review generally takes somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. That's generally what we hear when we send a traffic study in for their review. They are busy, so we want to give ample time for the proper review of that, but that's generally what it takes. And you can see the other couple of costs that fall in line as far as the temp signal. The temp signal 50,000 number you see is strictly budgetary, but it's going to be dependent and fluctuate depending on the design that we would be approved to move forward with after it gets through the MoDOT design. So when you look at this, your timeline's approximately 8 to 10 weeks just from the notice to proceed to get the design started to when we anticipate the design could be done. Again, I want to point out that that is all contingent upon all of the reviews, making sure that the design is staying on track and all that. So if we just assume the notice to proceed of June 16th, that puts us into the middle of August already before we even get through a design review completion of a design to where we can provide that design to our contractor and they can finalize any construction costs. As you can see, just high level on the construction side, we're anticipating maybe a 4-week lead time once we get to that point, on top of that 8 to 10 weeks. So you're looking at being into the middle of September by the time we would even possibly see the signal be put up. We don't know the official lead times of the materials until we get the design done, and we don't know the construction time frame. So we're giving you our best guesses after talking with the contractor, our best estimates that we can to this point. Again, it's going to fluctuate, but we just don't know how much. And the other thing that we just wanted to point out is that there is an anticipated shutdown on the Technology Drive Bridge, which is based off of a project that MoDOT has in coordination with the city also to build the Darden connector down there at the I-64 bridge, and the Technology Bridge is going to get taken down and rebuilt as part of MoDOT's portion of that project. This is the detour that was part of that plan set. This project has been bid for the Darden Greenway connector. MoDOT right now is going through the bid reviews, and we're working on trying to get some schedules for some meetings, whatever we'd have to do to get this thing into award. MoDOT's taking care of all that, so we're trying to work with them and coordinate with them as best we can. Right now, we anticipate it would be a July, maybe August shutdown. That's the best guess right now. It could move into September. We're not 100% sure yet until we can get through the whole bid award process. So we'll keep you guys updated when we know more about that. But that's just another piece of the puzzle here, because this will impact traffic flow to some capacity, because they're shutting down the bridge and sending the vehicles to the major intersections, which is your Winghaven Boulevard, Highway DD, and then also Highway K. So that should be coming in the next 2-3 months is what we're seeing. So it's going to start changing traffic patterns for people on that regardless. So what we wanted to do is just bring an option that kind of came to fruition after we have a project manager that's been working very hard on this to make sure that we are providing and presenting as many options, or the best options that we feel we can, to see where we can go with this, and hopefully, help everybody out in the end to get something done in a more efficient and economic manner. So what he's come up with is an early open scenario, which we could do and we call it a one-way only, which it's going to be, and I'll get into the details of that here in just a minute. But we could do an early open for a section of the Weldon Springs and Crusher Road intersection where the roundabout's going to go, to get traffic that could use a one-way situation from Weldon Springs to get onto Crusher to get to Highway K. We think that we could have that open by July 4th. We have talked to the contractor about that. They have agreed that they think they can get this open by July 4th. We would set the agreement with them to where if they don't have it open by July 4th, there'd be a $500 deduct off of that $32,620 you see. For every day that it's not open in July 4th, the contractor is committed to that term of the and condition also. And it is all inclusive of traffic control, signs, devices, maintenance, anything that you guys can think of. It's a one-time payment. They take care of the situation, but they have to continue to work, which they originally were planned to work with it being completely shut down. So they have to kind of adjust some things, and they have to make sure that this stays safe for their labor. That's a big point of conversation for us. They think they can do that with what we're talking about here. So this would provide another access for residents in this area to access K, not having to go through Weldon Springs or some of the other options that I'll show you here in a minute that have been on the detours and out in front of everybody. That is really stuff you've all seen, I think, or most of you have seen. If you haven't, it'll be good to show it again tonight. Like I said, contractor has committed to this. That's roughly 4 weeks from now, compared to the 8 to 10 to just get design done middle of September before we can even start thinking about construction potentially. So we felt that this streamlined effort makes more sense. It's more economical for the city when it comes to trying to get another option open for this area, which I think has been the big point of contention. So if we do this one-way open situation, we would pull back from getting the traffic signal done or designed, and we wouldn't spend the money on that. We would put the money towards that, towards this option, and a change order would come to you guys regardless on either option, doesn't matter. So just so you guys know, on this detour, this was discussed in public meetings that we had on the Darden Greenway projects, because we've got two different projects on the Darden Greenway right now. One's the Darden Connector, one's the Sports Park. We had a coordinated public effort with GRG, MoDOT representatives, and this detour map was out to the public in that meeting. We had we had, I don't know, over 50 people that showed up to that. So this has been out to the public, and this is in the public documents once the bid is awarded and all that too. I'm going the wrong way. So this is just kind of a high-level overview that I wanted to show. You see all the dash green lines. The heavier, wider dash line is kind of the primary routes that we had for the detour. The ones with the kind of the skinnier green dashes were the alternate routes that people could use. Obviously, Weldon Springs is one of them, Barrett Haven's one of them. Go over, people on Crusher would have to go to K because the intersection shut down. They couldn't do much other than that. But we wanted to show just kind of a high-level aerial of what this looks like for the opportunities for people to use alternate routes and include, you'll see the little orange arrow. It's pretty small. It's hard to get a good picture of it, but if there's a little orange section in there for that one-way, and it would start kind of like right after Valley Brook's entrance. However, that transitions into our construction limits and everything the best. And then it would transition back out. I'm going to go to the next slide because this shows a better example of, the orange is where that one-way pavement would be down and usable. That would be permanent pavement. And you can see that the orange kind of tapers out once it gets onto Crusher Drive. It gets to a point where it can transition back to a two-way roadway. So I don't want people to think that Crusher becomes one-way. It's not that. It transitions and it opens it back up to two-way all the way out to K, but we have to keep it locked in right at the construction limits to one-way only. It would be signed accordingly. As you can see, there's do not removes and one-way sign, or do not enters and begin one-way signage and all that. And then there will be cones or channelizers or some kind of traffic control throughout that whole thing. And obviously, they're going to be trying to keep as much separation as they can with their workers while this is under traffic, should we move forward with this, but they do believe it's feasible. So with that, I went too far. I guess the staff just really needs to have the final resolution as to what effort we're moving forward with, whether it be the signal, if that is what is necessary for you guys, but we wanted to bring this option because we feel this is more economical and a very feasible and a good option for an alternate effort.
Mr. Snowden.
Thank you, Mayor. And Chris just said it, but because this was a resolution passed by the council, staff doesn't have the ability to make this change without your permission. And again, to Chris's point, we believe this is a more economical option. It is a faster option. And it's the way that staff believes we should move forward. But again, it's 100% up to you to decide.
To your award, Mr. Boyer.
Can you go back to the 32,000? What are we buying with that? Because isn't this just the normal project?
So what we're proposing is not part of the normal project because the way the project was bid, the way the contractor anticipated he could build this is it was closed down until it was back open, kind of a thing. So he could build the whole roundabout. This is changing that to where now he's working under more in traffic situations. And so this 32.6 is, the one-time payment for him to take care of what that contractor needs to do to get the work done by July 4th. You can call it like a slight incentive, but he's going to have costs involved with traffic control, maintenance, because if someone runs through it, they put it up. We don't pay them for every time somebody runs over a cone or anything like that. It's a one-time shot, and they're responsible for all work that's necessary to get it done by July 4th.
Will this extend the project in itself?
I do not believe so. Not at this time.
And this would be the normal process for the people anyway. This is getting them to where they would get to K normally after the project's done.
Yes. So it'd be very similar. You can see the roundabout in there. It's essentially putting in a section of the roundabout pavement, and then it would transition out of the pavement that gets onto Crusher Drive. So yeah, it's all pavement that's got to go down anyways. They're just going to have to phase a little bit differently. We do have some of those medians and all that stuff, so that kind of thing won't be in until probably later on, but the pavement to drive on would be there. I don't know the exact width, it's probably 10 to 11 foot wide is my guess. A typical lane of pavement will be put down, and then they will add on to that and build out the rest of the project on the other side of it. Yep.
Amanda?
So one of the things was that MoDOT required us to put the traffic light there, right? I guess my question is, if this gets done, can they still come back and require us to put that up there, a traffic light there?
MoDOT did not require us to put this light in. MoDOT told us, no, you're not putting the light in.
The signal had to be warranted for anything to go in at Weldon Springs and Technology Drive's intersection. It had to be warranted. So we did a full study to prove and we got traffic counts.
Yeah.
Submitted the study to MoDOT. They reviewed it and said that a signal would be warranted under the conditions that it was at the time of that study. So they don't tell us one way or the other. They're just saying that, yes, it would be warranted, and if you want to spend the money, you can put a signal there. It's a temporary signal that will come down the minute we can get it down. It does not stay. And MoDOT, as far as I know, they don't have any plans now or in the future to do any true permanent signal there at all. I do not believe.
Plus, the intersection is MoDOT's, it is not the city of O'Fallon's. The intersection is MoDOT's intersection, not ours.
Which is why they could restrict us from using trailers. Which is why they could restrict us from using trailers, because it's their intersection.
Ms. Ragsdale?
Thank you. Excuse my ignorance for this because I'm in Ward 5, so I'm far north. I'm not as familiar with this intersection, but are all four corners of this intersection O'Fallon?
I don't believe so. I think, well, the intersection of Crusher and Weldon Springs, is that the one you're talking about? Where the
Where we would-
roundabout's going?
Where we would be talking about putting this?
Yes.
I guess
So-
I'm just kind of curious why, if this is MoDOT's,
So where Crusher and Weldon Springs come together, where our project limits are, that's all O'Fallon. Where we're talking about the temporary signal, that was at Weldon Springs and Technology Drive, which is not this area. It's right where that cursor comes down, location temporary signal, that little blob of red. That's the intersection where the temporary signal would go. Our proposal will be on our roadways, and it would just build portion of the project a little bit faster than it would have been done before and get it open to traffic.
Linda, what's a little confusing is it's flip-flopped. So
Yeah, the
north to south here.
Yeah, the orientation's not great. All these maps kind of flip-flop around, so I
So all
apologize
the
for
residents
that.
that coming out would then have access.
thank you for that. I personally would have a problem with O'Fallon footing the bill for something that is not all O'Fallon, because I have a serious issue with our tax dollars going to subsidize other municipalities. That's the only reason why I was questioning whether all of this was in O'Fallon or not.
All of this proposed second one-way option is in O'Fallon. The temporary signal is on MoDOT right away. I think that's actually Darden Prairie on the one corner, and I don't even know if it's us on the other. So,
But Linda, I can tell you, we will talk with Darden Prairie and see if they're interested in throwing something our way.
Thank you.
Well, if you don't ask, they won't offer it.
And you're right. And cost sharing is a lot more palatable than us absorbing all of the cost if it's not just us.
No, I can't guarantee you that they'll say yes, but doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, their citizens are also impacted by this. This
Yep.
makes sense. This alleviates that left-hand turn off of Weldon Spring.
it does provide another way for people to use, so they don't have to go to the Weldon Springs Technology Interchange, which there are multiple ways kind of spread out through that area to get off of Weldon Springs and still get to where you need to go, so.
Mr. Kewen?
I think a particular note for me is the fact that we can get this up and running by July 4th instead of the middle of September.
Yes.
I mean, people are having traffic problems right now. Well, we don't want to, have this waiting 3 or 4 months to alleviate that issue. If we can get this done in a month and a half, or, well, really basically a month.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't guarantee nothing, but if we're looking at the middle of September, that's a month into school already, which school's out now, so I don't, it's just another thing to keep in mind. Yep.
My only concern is weather-wise, I mean, we're supposed to get rain the rest of this week. I mean,
Yeah.
is that gonna,
Well, that's construction. Yeah, we're shooting for July 4th. The contractor, we've actually had really good progress over the last month because we had a really wet April, and we thought that was going to hurt us a little bit, but the contractor's been doing a really good job. They've made really good progress, and we've confirmed it through them, through
Okay.
their project manager and their superintendent have confidence that, in a normal setting, they should be able to meet July 4th, and they understand if they don't, it's $500 less than
okay.
each day.
Any other questions? Mr. O'Keefe, what do I need to do? Or what's this council need to do?
The reason for the special council meeting is that the council previously passed legislation in the form of a resolution specifying a remediation program for traffic in this area consisting of build the temporary electric signal and install it. That's a specific direction from the council, which staff is not at liberty to ignore or change. So we've asked that you come together, and if you agree with staff's consideration that there is an alternative approach to the traffic problem, then we would ask that the council consider a motion authorizing the city staff to proceed with an alternative traffic relief program consisting of the one-way scenario through the roundabout as proposed, in lieu of and in substantially and find that it substantially satisfies the purposes of Resolution 522-2205H, and authorize staff to proceed with the alternative traffic measure.
Chris, what was the cost of the design for this traffic light?
Around $25,000, I believe. Let me get back to that for the breakdown so you can see that. Around $25,000. I think that number's pretty accurate because we were able to talk to our consultant about that, but the other numbers are flexible, I believe, more flexible.
Okay.
Having bumbled through, perhaps the motion would be, if it is the council's pleasure, that the council find that the alternative traffic remediation program suggested by staff substantially satisfies the purposes of Resolution 522-2025H, and authorizing staff to proceed with installation of that alternative traffic measure.
That's what I said.
I thought I heard you say that.
That's what I said. Mr. Bibb?
Thank you, Mayor. Will that give staff authorization to sign the change order? Are they waiting for a change order, or are they going to proceed off of this approval?
Our next step, if I'm approved tonight to move forward with the alternate and go to the one-way option, I will tell the contractor that's our moving forward, and they will be adjusting their workload and staffing to make sure that they can try to hit that July 4th as best they can.
Okay.
So are you saying, is there separate approval for the change order required?
Right, and maybe we will have it, but as long as if they're proceeding with it based off of us approving it tonight.
We would have to get the change order together, make sure it's put through the agenda system. You guys would, I think it would require approval because I think we'd be.
Just double checking, is the project in total more than $600,000?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be within my purview to approve this. So I would just approve the change order, would not have to come back to the council.
Okay. And then we just put on committee and commissions or whatever we do.
Yes, whatever we would normally do, but I would sign it when it's presented to me.
Okay.
Mr. Boyer?
That address your question?
Yeah, that's perfect. I just didn't know if we needed to add an amendment to your short motion.
I make a motion for us to,
No, you have to repeat what he said. Come on. You're new, you got to repeat what he said.
that's what I,
See if you were paying attention.
so moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Boyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bibb. Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? There you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
No further business. We're adjourned.